Good morning, all of you. Welcome back to the next session. And before I tell you what we are going to discuss here, I will first reiterate what we have done in the previous classes. We have learned what is statistics, what is economics, why is it important, why are we studying it. Then we moved on to the first step of statistics, which is collection of data. There are 5 steps. So we had moved to the first stage of it, collection of data. For that we understood what is data. Then we understood there are two types of data, primary and secondary, merits and demerits of both, methods of collecting, sources of secondary data, and so on. In the last session we had done what's a questionnaire, how to frame it well, and also we learned to right, in the last one we also did the sources of secondary data, right. Now we also learned pilot survey. Now that we have understood what kind of data uh, do we have or can we get, we also now move on to the next part of the same step. I mean, we are in the same step, which is collection of data. We're on stage 1 only. This is just the next part of that stage 1, which is that how do you target your population. That means if I want to collect information, if I have a certain objective in my mind, like I give you a task, you should collect information on awareness on coronavirus, how much people are aware. So who are you going to target? I mean, who are you going to ask the information from? It really matters, because if you target the right kind of people, or if you collect information from all of them, then only you get the right answer, or right information about the people. If I want to make an analysis about the people, then I must have their information with me in its true honesty or in its true form. अब प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि when the population is too large, it takes me a lot of time to collect information from them. So what do we do then? And also I have to maintain a certain quality, because if I don't take information from the entire population, the quality is also affected. So there are two things to be kept in mind here. Number one is quality that I have to maintain, and number two is that limited time that I have to take care of. Within the limited time, I have to get the best possible quality. So there are two ways through which you can decide your target population. I mean, the people you're going to take information from. uh, I will explain in two cases. First case is you want to take information of people of entire Delhi. So in that case, you will if you have to take information from all of the people, it will take you maybe an year or a lot of time than you think you have to collect that kind of information. And I think the purpose of statistical analysis gets defeated when it takes a long time, because by the time you arrive at a result, maybe people's opinions or their answers have changed. So whatever answer they gave you a long time back are not the is not the situation now. So we also have to keep in mind the fact that time is less, and within that time frame we have to complete our analysis also. So in that case, I will not be able to take the entire population. So let's say this is the entire Delhi's population, but since it's going to take me a lot of time, so to save myself some time and effort, I will take a small sample from the population. This sample, I am assuming, is a good representative of the population. We will learn how to take a sample also. There are many ways of selecting a sample. So I am assuming this is the best sample. क्या होता है जब आप फैक्ट्री में प्रोडक्शन चेक करते हैं, क्वालिटी चेकिंग कर रहे होते हैं, तो यू डोंट चेक द क्वालिटी ऑफ ऑल द गुड्स इफ़ दे आर प्रोड्यूस्ड इन लैक्स अ डे. बहुत ज़्यादा प्रोडक्शन हो रही होती है, तो आप सबकी क्वालिटी चेक करने बैठ जाओगे तो फिर इट्स गोइंग टू टेक अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम. So what you do is you select a sample out of it, and then you check the quality on random, that okay, if the sample is good, I am assuming the whole population is also good. So that's how the sampling things work, that this is kind of a representative of the population. Now I take information from the sample here, so that's called a sample method. It says that data collected from the representative items of a population. This is the method of collecting the information. This is the first one, sample method. The second one, which is a simpler one, is census method. Census, like I told you, means population. So when you take the information from the entire population, let's say you want to do a statistical analysis on the on people of your locality, of your neighborhood, so it's comparatively a lot easier to contact everybody in your neighborhood, since it's manageable within the time frame, and also your quality will be much higher, because of course when you take information from the entire population, the quality is much better than the sample itself, because sample may not be equivalent to, of course will never be 100% equivalent to the population. Population is population, it's a parent and it's a son. So the population will always give you better results, but every time it's not possible to collect information from the population, so then we resort to the sampling method. So there are two methods. First one is census, where you take information from the whole population. The second one is sample, where you take information only from the sample, which is a subset. We also call this as a subset. So this we call as a set of population, and this small one is the subset of the population. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now we move on to the next topic. So next one is census method. We are now learning more about it. Where is it suitable, what are its merits and what are its demerits. Pretty simple, because we've discussed the overview of it, so you're pretty clear with the concept now. Just more into the details. First is suitability. Like I told you, it is suitable only when the population is small, limited area. Like in your neighborhood, if you want to do it, it's fine, it's a limited area. Second, it will give you high accuracy, good, because you're targeting each and every person in the population set. Third one is important and is a little different point here. Population is not homogeneous. That means there is a diversity. Homogeneous means this similarity. When I say population not homogeneous, which means there is a diversity in the population, because of which I have to talk to everybody and take out information, right? So there are a lot of differences in the individuals here, and if I take just a sample, then maybe the entire diversity will not be entertained. So I have to take the entire population, so that I know what are the kind of differences in people, what different type of information do I have. So when you have a lot of variety of information, then census method is more suitable, because you definitely want to take all types of information from them. Then merits, number one is high accuracy, which is suitability. So whenever you require high accuracy, census method is required, and it also becomes its merit. Second, it is an intensive study of the population. Since you're targeting every item of the population, it is an intensive means like with great detail. Okay. Then demerits. First, expensive, right? It takes a lot of effort and money. Then it takes a lot of time also, manpower also. Third point, again a very different one, it cannot be applied on whole population in some cases. In some cases you definitely cannot use census method. Example, like right now they are trying to invent a medicine. They're trying to find a medicine for coronavirus. So to check the success rate, they cannot give that medicine to all of the population who are affected by corona. They have to take out a sample of people and then test it on them. You always test it on a certain limited number of people, because what if there is a side effect, or there is some problem, or if it is not successful, then you cannot take the risk of uh, you know damaging everybody's health. So you take a sample in that case. So in medical cases especially, census method is definitely not recommended. It's always a sample that they work on to test the validity of their uh, invention or their discovery. Okay, so this is how census method is. Now next we will discuss sample method in a similar fashion. Next is here sample method. Merits and demerits, pretty simple. I will explain each one of them. Then first let's talk about the merits. Sample method, number one, it requires less cost, like I told you, since we're targeting only a specific population and not the entire population, so your task is limited and your cost is also limited. Your speed also increases because now you'll take less time to do the same thing. It is much convenient in terms of administration, in terms of handling the data, much more convenient as compared to the census method. Then scientific approach, of course. Now that we are not talking to everybody, just a limited number of people, we have to be very strategic in deciding whom to talk to. Like, you know that 10 people in front of you, you want to target only 3. Let's say I want to talk to only 3 people to know about the entire 10 people. So I have to be very scientific in my approach in deciding whom to target. I have to be very logical. I cannot select it randomly. It's one of the methods of selecting randomly, but it's not a recommended method. So it's a scientific approach. You will learn more about it in the later topics also. Then exceptional applicability. Like I told you, in the census method, it was not applicable in all the cases, but sample method is applicable in most of the cases. Generally, sample method is useful because population is so large, and it is also in some case risky and not advisable to target the entire population. So sample method is generally recommended in the real world. Then demerits. Number one, 100% accuracy is difficult because you're not targeting 100%, so you don't expect 100% accuracy also. Second one, very important one. This is very important. We keep doubting the quality of the sample. Like I told you, out of the 10 you selected 3. I can have a doubt whether these 3 people are good enough, are capable of representing the entire set of 10 people or not. So it's always a task to select a sample which is a good sample, which is a good representative of the population. We'll learn more about it in the next part of this class, or maybe next class, that how do you determine whether a sample is good or not. How do you know? What are the things that we should keep in mind? Why do we raise a doubt on the quality of a sample? So sample, since it's not the whole population, so you keep doubting the quality of it, whether the items that you have selected from the population, are they representing the population truly or not. Then biasness in selection of the sample. The investigator who is selecting the sample may be biased, may select only like I told you, if I want to see the level of income in Delhi, and for that I have selected a sample. So I selected a sample of people with the high income group only. I know in a certain area, posh, this area is posh, so rich families reside here. So I am selecting the items from that area. Of course, my answer will be that Delhi is a city with the rich people, but that's not the right answer. And of course, my sample is also biased to start with. So this is the biggest demerit, to have a wrong sample. Then again, I told you, when the data is heterogeneous, when there is a lot of variety, there is a difficulty in choosing a sample, because I want the sample to represent the entire population, and if I miss out on any of the category of the population, then it's a problem, because then my sample is not representing the whole population. Okay, so Heterogeneous, I'll explain a heterogeneous part. uh, it means there's a lot of diversity in the population. So when there's a lot of diversity, when there are differences, then there are multiple categories, it is difficult to find a sample which is a true representative of the population. So it's not impossible, you can do it, but it's highly difficult. So in that case, census is recommended if the population is small. Okay. Now we have learned the merits and demerits of a sample method. Now we will understand what should be the ideal size of a sample. How big or how small should it be? So there are various factors affecting it. So we'll learn more about them. First one is size of the population. Clearly, if the population is large, the sample also has to be large, so that it is able to represent the entire population. Then degree of accuracy. If you require more accuracy, the sample should be large. A small sample cannot guarantee as much accuracy as a large sample. So for a high accuracy, you need a large sample. Then homogeneity and heterogeneity of population. If the population is homogeneous, then a small sample is also okay, because the information is kind of similar, so you don't need to collect information from a lot of people. But if there is a heterogeneity in the population, then you definitely need a large sample to cover all aspects, all variety, all categories in the population. Then nature of study. If you want to study the population intensively, like in much detail, then you need a large sample, so that you get as much information as possible. And if it is just an overview study, then a small sample will also do. Okay. Last topic that I'm going to discuss today is that how do you select a good sample? What are the qualities of a good sample? Okay. So these are the major requirements for a sample to be good. First one, most important, is that it should represent all the entire population. That means it should have all the characteristics of a population. Like I said, if I want to select a sample from the whole population of Delhi, then that sample should have people from all income levels, right? So that's the diversity, those are the characteristics. So only that sample will be able to represent the whole of Delhi. When that sample will have all the kinds of people with the different income levels, only then I can say okay, it is representing the population of Delhi. Second one is adequate size. Like we just learned that size should be the perfect size. That if you want high accuracy, then size should be more. If you want if the population is homogeneous, the size can be small. So the size should be adequate as per the requirements. Then third is independence of selected sample units. That means the units that you're selecting, is you've selected A, you've selected B. A and B should be independent. It should not be like चलो तुम friends हो, तुम दोनों मेरे sample में आ जाओ. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. All the sampling units should be independent and scientifically selected, logically selected. The last one is of course whatever units that you are selecting, the items that you are selecting from the population in your sample are as per the objective of your investigation. Like I told you, if I want to study the income level, then I am selecting people based on their income level. That I select 10% people from lower income group, 10% from higher income group, like this. So my objective should be kept in mind while I'm selecting the items for the sample. So these are the basic requirements for a good sample, for selecting a sample. For today, we'll end the session here only. There's one small topic that I haven't covered. I will be touching upon this topic in the next class, which is an exit poll, which is somehow related to this topic. So we'll be continuing with the sample method only, because we have different sampling methods. We'll do that in the next class. So we'll start with exit poll and then methods of sampling. So bye for now. Take care, everyone.